What up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Fight Fanatik podcast. I am Tim Robertson. The man to my left is Jason Hoban. What up, Jason?
What's up, Tim? How you doing today?
Seen better days, bub. Seen better days.
A little sickety sick.
A little sick. Got a case of the Cooties there, bub. I literally was fine on Friday and got home that night and instantly was trash. I don't know what happened. Took the COVID test, no COVID. I don't know what this is, but we're going to try to march on here.
No other choice.
No other choice. We're going to start on a little bit of a somber note. A legend in his own right has passed away. Anthony Rumble Johnson has passed away at the age of 38 from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and HLH. Completely unexpected. Very similar vibe and feeling to when Chadwick Boseman, the actor for Black Panther, when he passed away. You didn't really know what was happening until it was already too late. And they both did that by design because they didn't want people seeing them slowly deteriorate.
Yeah, I know Rumble had taken some time away from fighting for, he said health issues, but I don't think anybody but really those closest to him knew what was truly going on with him. And you got to respect the guy's privacy in that, wanting to fight that on his own, kind of not wanting to be in the public eye when he's, clearly not doing so well.
100%. It's such a bummer, man.
It really
38
is.
years old. He literally just came off a knockout in Bellator. He looked like he was really coming back into his old form. And to see it end like this, forget about mixed martial arts, just as the great human that he was, to see him go out the way he went out, it's such a shame, man. It's such a shame.
It really is. Yeah, I have many fond memories of watching Rumble as a fighter. In his performances, just always incredible and always seemed to be humble and also just a good human being. And it just really sad. And my heart and prayers go out to his family and friends. And just hope they can find peace in this hard time for him.
When you see just how big the news was, it was everywhere. I mean, every fighter from every combat sport, trainer, coach, everyone spoke so highly of him. And it just really comes to show how awesome of a human being he really was. I mean, let alone how respected he was in the space of combat sports.
Respected and feared as a fighter, for sure.
Children, for those who don't know, my man, Anthony Rumble Johnson, his nickname could not have been any more suitable for the human being he was. When that man stepped into the octagon, win, lose, draw, no matter what, the person he's staring across from knows it's about to be a rumble. Ain't gonna be. It ain't gonna be some. We're not playing. We're not playing. Like when you used to see like people like Conor McGregor and Anderson Silva and certain fighters go in there and they look like they're having fun while they're doing what they're doing. None of that was done whenever you were fighting Anthony Rumble Johnson. It was all business because at any moment, at any time, you were going to sleep.
Yep.
And if you don't believe me, just ask Kevin Burns. Just ask Glover Teixeira. Just ask Ryan Bader. I mean,
Gustafson.
Exactly. My man Rumble Johnson stepped up into Gustafson's hometown and put him down.
Yeah.
Just incredible. Incredible fighter, incredible human being. This one hurts, Hope.
It does. I know that you've been a fan of Rumble for a long time. He was your favorite fighter for many years, and it just I feel for you just like I feel for anybody else. Of course, it saddens me, but you being such a big fan of his, like I know that you're feeling this more than most people are.
Yeah, being a big fan of Mike Tyson back in the boxing days, he just gave me those vibes. It's just
Yeah.
when Mike Tyson was in the ring, it just felt different. It felt like you were in the. It looked like to the opponent, it felt like they were in the ring with a beast, not a human. It looked like
Mm-hmm.
the way it looked so similar to if you were in there with a lion. Like you would look
Mm-hmm.
not much different. Like just the feeling you got. Everybody would play around and whatever, and during the other fights, when then Rumble stepped in the octagon, you're like, all right, chill.
Yeah, serious.
This is serious. Like my
Yeah.
anxiety is getting high. Like this is somebody may get seriously hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But man, rest in peace to Rumble Johnson. I pray for peace for his family and loved ones. And man, I don't really know how to move on from that in the proper manner.
I don't think there is a proper manner. You just kind of transition into the next topic. It's tough to do, and it's a tough situation.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can start with the place where he last fought for, Bellator. Bellator 288 was Friday night. Main event was Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson, and Patricky Pitbull and Usman Nurmagomedov were the co-main event. And if you
Yep.
see why, if you want to know why I'm sounding a little bit nonchalant, is because just reading those titles, I was starting to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Boy, you take it from here, Hope.
I mean, to be realistic, they weren't the most exciting of fights. I think they were necessary to crown champions in that organization, but both of the fights ended up turning out to be more of a sparring match of sorts for the eventual victors of both fights. Nurmagomedov, displayed decent kickboxing acumen, and Pitbull Fiere just kind of like he never really got going, man. He just kind of you expect a certain fight with both of the Pitbull brothers. You expect them to move forward and get inside and land great dirty boxing punches, and he just never really seemed to get going. I don't know if it was fear of the takedown or the length or reach advantage for Nurmagomedov or what, but he never really felt like he was in the fight, and not like he was outclassed, and beat up really bad. It was just Nurmagomedov just really just put in the work on him, and it really did. It looked like a sparring match to me.
Patricky looked old.
Yeah.
He looked intimidated. He looked like a person who wasn't out there to win, but survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't put himself on the line at all the entire fight.
No,
Like
almost no risk was taken, really.
zero. And that's what made it a boring fight. I mean, Usman did exactly. I mean, if that's what Patricky's gonna give you, I would do exactly what Usman did too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he fought the fight the way that he needed to. That's for sure.
50-45, 50-44, 50-44. I mean, that says it all. That says
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah.
The main event, Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson. What'd you think?
I mean, it was much the same. Nemkov was able to get off with good striking. I think we had talked earlier. You had said something about he defended 15 takedowns. So Anderson went 0 for 15 for takedowns. So it's just, I mean, great takedown defense, superior striking, and Corey Anderson, much the same. He never really felt like he got going, and maybe that's because the takedowns were defended so well. He never felt comfortable. But again, just another sparring match that Nemkov really kind of highlighted his own striking, and Corey Anderson never really had a whole lot going for him.
Yeah, Vadim Nemkov looked like he went and trained wrestling defense, huh? I mean,
yeah,
I heard he went to ATT. If you want to learn wrestling defense, that and AKA is the place to go. Apparently, it paid dividends because Corey Anderson shot for 15 takedowns and landed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.
I think you're supposed to count the other way.
Yeah, I mean,
you
not
count
just.
up, you count down.
I was just, I don't understand how you shoot for 15 takedowns over a course of a 5-round fight, and you are no. I mean, he's a great
Yeah.
mixed martial arts wrestler, and man, and I'm sure he thought the game plan from the first fight would work in the second one. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in his mind, like how much can he learn in this short amount of time? You know what I mean? Like a lot apparently, like because they didn't even get close. I mean, like by the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th takedown, they weren't even getting close. I mean, he was stuffing them, and then the rest was just elementary. Nemkov is better on the feet, period.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's just a matter of, or Anderson knew the game plan and couldn't do anything with it. Couldn't do
Yeah,
anything with it.
he didn't adjust very well. If his game
No.
plan was to secure a takedown and have a similar outcome to the previous fight, minus the headbutt, yeah, it didn't work out this time, and he didn't really seem to adjust much after that.
Yeah. Yeah, the headbutt, that's what ended the first fight. The headbutt opened a nasty cut on Nemkov, and that ended the fight. There was basically the same scenario happened in this fight. I mean, nasty headbutts, more than one. And luckily, no major cuts or anything of that nature. But congratulations to Nemkov. Congratulations to Usman. How do you feel about Usman as a fighter?
I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, I don't know necessarily if he's capable of competing at the highest level in the UFC with the champions there, but or the champion Islam Makhachev or some of the other top 5 guys. But yeah, of course, he's got a couple of years still till he's old. So yeah, I'd like to see him continue to improve, and maybe someday we'll see him in the UFC and see what he does. He looks okay. This fight wasn't much of a show out for him because it was just him in a sparring match, but not bad overall.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I imagine those sparring sessions with old Islam Makhachev don't go very well.
Yeah, yeah. Takes a bit of a beating in those, I'm sure.
And I see why he chose Bellator as opposed to the UFC. I'm sure there's multiple reasons. One, he's not quite on the level to be champ. Number two, they would get in the way of each other. And in their eyes, Usman and Islam would probably get in the way of each other's championship aspirations.
Yeah.
In my head, outside of Khabib making a promise to his mom, I also think that he wanted to get out of the way for Islam. So I think that might have played a part in why Usman chose Bellator, but I think it was the right decision because I don't think he's ready for the UFC level.
Which is good because it gives him an opportunity to continue to improve and also be a title holder in another organization before he's potentially ready at some point to come over to the big show.
100%. Congratulations to those guys. Let's slip on over to the UFC. There was a fight night on Saturday evening.
Ooh.
Like it was like prelims were at 1:00, main card was at 4:00. Not mad at that. Not mad at that at all.
Not at all. Yeah, it's nice to be done, before 7 or 8 o'clock at night watching fights. It's a nice change of pace. There's no doubt about that.
Main event was supposed to be Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak. Literally during the prelims, the commentary let us know that fight had been officially canceled. Derek Lewis, a non-COVID, non-weight cut related illness. I haven't heard anything more than that. Have you?
I did look last night some, and then again this morning to see if I could find any information. And the only thing that I was able to find was some unspecified stomach issue, but no specifics. So who knows what it really is? But hopefully it's a quick recovery time because I was really looking forward to this fight. I'd like to see it rescheduled as soon as possible, and maybe we get to see it, Probably not by the end of the year, but hopefully sometime first quarter next year.
Yeah, I mean, they're heavyweights. Let's just throw them on the December 10th card, huh?
Yeah,
They don't got to
yeah.
cut a
Quick,
lot of
quick
weight.
turnaround. Yeah,
Yeah, like, I mean, what's his name weighs in at 265 anyway. Like, he weighs in right at the limit. Like, it's just, he can't, just slide him in
Derek Lewis
there.
is. He was looking pretty good on the scales, man.
Yeah.
He's not looking bad. The last few fights, you could tell he's trimming down a little bit, but still maintaining that, high or mid 260s weight. Like it's crazy to see him lean out and still maintain the same size.
uh, let's just speak speculatively.
Okay.
Who would you have had win that fight?
I would. It's tough because I think uh, Derek Lewis always has the great equalizer and that big power that he seems to carry all the way, whether it be a 3 or a 5 round fight. He seems to have that same power at the end. We've seen him do it a couple of times late in the fight. He'll get a knockout after getting beat on some. Also, he's really good about getting up off the ground when taken down. He's tough to keep down. I still would have leaned Spivak, but it would be tough for me to pick, pick a winner, definitively, which is again why I'm so excited to see the fight. How about
Yeah,
you? Which way were you leaning?
I was definitely leaning Spivak as well. Just the last couple fights for Derek, they seem to lack motivation. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but he seems like in his mind, like his championship aspirations are just like by the wayside,
Yeah.
And heavyweight, a person like him at heavyweight, could do a lot of damage while he was coming up. But now, just as of recently, there are some fully formed
Yeah.
heavyweights that
Yep.
are always going to give Derek Lewis a problem. Even with his win over Curtis Blades, if they fought 10 times, I think Curtis Blades wins at least 7 to 8 times out of 10.
Yeah. It's crazy to see the evolution of the heavyweights. Like you had flashes of that well-rounded fighter and somebody
Mm-hmm.
like Cain Velasquez, but it seems like that's kind of par for the course. Like we even saw it with Francis Ngannou in his most recent title defense, where he was capable of taking down Cyril Gahn and holding him down. Like he's a much more complete fighter than you would have thought otherwise. And then you got people like Tommy Aspinall, and the heavyweight division is really coming along. It's not just giant brutes anymore.
Yep.
They've really come around on skill wise.
Curtis Blades, Tommy Aspinall, Cyril Gahn.
Yep.
John Jones is up there now. Francis Ngannou.
Hey Tim, let's spend about 5 minutes talking about a fight that didn't happen.
Oh, dude.
It's just such a disappointment to the card because while the other fights on the card have some names that are known to us but not to everybody. It just shows how reliant on that big main event we were all looking forward to.
Yeah, well, the main event, the co-main event that slid up to the main event was Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Iwan Kutelaba. It went down basically to a T the way I thought it was going to go down.
Yep.
Iwan throws it overhand right, hurts him, Kennedy pretty badly, and then he does the thing that I hate. And one thing you guys are going to figure out during this podcast, throughout the episodes, when we're at episode 300, I'm still going to be talking about this. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Same thing that Mikey Chandler did against Dustin Poirier. Same thing Iwan did. Hit him with an overhand right, hurt him badly, followed up with 2 or 3 punches. My man was literally on his way. I mean, he was hurt bad, obviously. So what does he do? Grabs a single leg, up to the body lock, tries to take him down for like 2 minutes. Because that makes sense. I mean, I ain't know. Who am I? But it just, I can't make sense of it. Can you?
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Because it happens like so frequently that I don't understand it. Because he would have clearly had much more success if he would have backed off a little bit and thrown more, calculated strikes rather than shooting him for a takedown. I assume it's because he figured he had a better chance of getting a finish with a takedown. He probably thought he had superior grappling or something, and he might be able to ground and pound for a victory. But more often than not, that does not work out that way.
Yeah, and he did. He did have superior grappling. I'll give him that. He eventually did take him down with a leg trip,
He had
body lock leg trip.
Had a big powerful takedown with that.
Mm-hmm. And but one thing Ewan needs to understand is cardio management. My man is just not. He does not have the greatest cardio. It's gotten him in trouble so many times.
Yeah,
being over aggressive, emptying the gas tank. These are the things that have plagued him and haunted him fight after fight after fight. And Saturday evening was no different. Does his thing on the ground for a little while. He definitely wins the first round, 100%. Yep. But as they both got up, towards the end of the round, Kennedy got up, and you could see, Ewan don't got a lot of juice left. Right at the end of the first round, you could see it. And the bell rang, and they both walked back to the corner. I said, the second round's not going to be good for Ewan. And just call me Nostradamus. Yeah. Because, man, Kennedy came out and just lit him up. That beautiful Ewan shot for a takedown. I mean, just timed it perfectly with that knee.
I don't understand how he didn't go out from that knee, because you're right. He dropped levels like he was trying to shoot for the takedown, and he came in at just the perfect time. And Njoku just smashed him in the perfect spot for a knee on a takedown. And it didn't. I mean, it hurt him clearly, but it didn't drop him. Didn't really put him out. Like, he was still there for a little while after that.
How did he survive? How did he survive
No
that
idea.
knee? I mean, it's the most flushest knee of all time.
And like you said, he was already kind of fading in the stamina, / cardio point. So I really don't understand. He's a tough individual, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, excellent victory for Kennedy. I saw it coming, but still, until it's done, it's not done. So he did his job. Shout out to Kennedy, who's making this happen while his mom has ALS. He's literally her caretaker while doing all this training and trying to become the best fighter in the world. That is insane. So it takes a strong man to be able to take all that on.
It's something special to be fighting at the level he is, meanwhile taking care of his sick mother. It's something inspirational, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm. Any other fights that tickled your fancy on the UFC card?
I mean, there's a couple, of course. You can't really finish the talk about this fight without bringing up Muslim Salikov versus Andre Fialho. Great first round for Fialho there, but Salikov really turned it on in that second round. I think we had spoken about it before, but I think the body shots really accumulated, especially towards the end of the first round. And Fialho came out looking like a completely different fighter. Even he had like a grimace on his face the whole time, and he was constantly like kind of protecting the side. And Salikov really just completely took over the fight from there until the finish, which was spectacular in its own right.
Man, I mean, talking about putting Teddy Atlas calls it putting water in the basement. the body. And you want to talk about, if you want to, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see a very clear reason why you should go to the body early, watch that fight, because it literally dehumanized him. Like, it just, he couldn't do anything. It looked like he wanted to do more, and he couldn't do more. Like, he seemed so frozen because he was afraid to get hit to the body. Those spinning kicks to the body. Oh my Lord!
My goodness. Yeah, I feel bad for his kidneys and the abdomen today, because I'm certain that guy is in some pain.
Oh my goodness! What about that kick to the head? How in the world did he not go out?
It's much like it's much like Kutalaba too, because it was a perfectly placed like spinning heel kick, and it caught him right where you would expect it to knock anybody in the world out. And granted, it stunned him to a great degree, but yeah, the fact that he didn't fall out unconscious like right then and there, like is very surprising. And a tough dude, no doubt.
Yeah, too tough for his own good.
Mm-hmm.
The referee, chef's kiss. You stopped that
Yeah.
perfectly. You did an excellent job.
Yep.
Because the lights were on, but nobody was home. You could see it. You could see it.
Uh-huh.
Jack Della Maddalena,
Man,
savage.
absolutely. The guys, I wrote down in my notes. He just, it's like he couldn't miss every strike he threw, whether it was to the body, a low leg kick or something, or to the head. Even like the guy was on fire. I'm really excited to see what his future in this welterweight division is. Like he is an exciting guy to be watching that right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, his striking is so silky smooth. It's everything he throws. It's like poetry in motion. It's nothing seems forced. Nothing seems like he's trying to. You watch wrestlers who throw strikes. You can tell they're a little bit robotic with their striking. They try to. Their speed comes from just trying to throw it as hard as they can instead of being fluid. And one person who's really good at being fluid was Nate Diaz. That was Nate and Nick Diaz were awesome at fluid striking. But this guy, he is so good. I think he's going to run into trouble as he comes up the ladder with those who are really good with at the ground game, wrestlers. So as he comes up the ladder, he should definitely still make sure he's working on the defensive wrestling, because that's coming, especially in the welterweight division.
Yeah, if he gets that under control, my goodness, the sky's the limit with this guy, no doubt about it. Because he's on a similar level to some of the top guys as far as striking is concerned. But if he can make the wrestling and defensive wrestling in particular catch up, we may have another guy in the next couple of years that's a title contender here.
Yeah, poor Danny Roberts. That boy didn't stand a chance. He didn't stand a chance. Jeez, dude.
He was super confident coming in too. Like I really thought that this might be a real scrap, and his first couple of body shots, you can tell it just really took something out of him.
Yeah, it was like watching a lion rip apart a gazelle. It was just, there's a lot of levels to this game. Natalia Silva.
Yeah, wow.
Is gonna. But speaking of somebody who's gonna end up being a player up in flyweight division. Wow, wow. Again,
especially
another person. Go ahead.
I was going to say, especially after the first round that she had to come out and really fight like she did in the second and beyond, like she really looked really good.
Yeah, especially, and also like she's going to run into the same problem as Madalena if she doesn't keep working on it. I mean, she did get took down in the first round and some in the second round. But once that lady ran out of juice, it was all she wrote. I mean, perfectly timed. Oh my goodness, perfectly timed kick to the face. It was just nasty, absolutely nasty. Last thing I'll say, Miles Johns. I don't really want to talk about the fight. Particularly, it was a pretty lackluster fight. But his head coach is James Krause, and
the James Krause, Tim. The James Krause,
Glory MMA's own, and he was supposed to be. I mean, he's his head coach. He's supposed to be out there in his corner, and he was not. And I noticed that, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And after the fight ends, Miles says that he was suspended. For those that don't know, Krause had a fighter, Derek Minner, who had a fight, and he went into the fight injured. And the whole thing looked very fishy, very shady, very.
Yep.
He threw a kick with the hurt leg, was hurt. Then as he backs up, he throws a kick with the same leg. And that's what made everybody go like, huh? But that right there, if you don't know any better, you're like, that's just strange. Why would he do that? But after the fight, come to find out that his opponent, who I have a hard time pronouncing his name, all of a sudden got all this money thrown on him. So much money in all the sports books. And that's a very strange thing, especially for a prelim fight. 2 hours before the fight, all of a sudden get a truckload of money dumped on a no-name fighter. So they're currently under investigation. Glory MMA, James Krause, and all those guys. He's not suspended officially, but they are saying he can't corner guys until the investigation is concluded. Hogan, your thoughts?
I mean, it's all speculation at this point. Until we hear like what's really going on, we can't say for sure, but it certainly seems a little strange, a little fishy. And I hope that Krause wouldn't do something like that because he's such a respected fighter and also, more recently as a coach. I hope he wouldn't involve himself in something like that. But I mean, I'm going to withhold my own personal judgment until we really hear what had happened. But doesn't necessarily look the greatest. We'll see though.
Here's a crazy thought. Let's just all chill until the facts come out.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not,
wow. What a concept.
It's not. Yeah, that's crazy. Who would do such a thing?
Come on.
Are you saying you're a reasonable person?
I'm a loser, apparently.
Cheeto fingers.
But yeah, I agree with you. I hope it was just some type of accident, and he told somebody and it got out somehow, and something like that. I just hope it wasn't any direct malfeasance, because that'd be awful.
Yep.
But that'll conclude the UFC talk. Let's move on to a little bit of combat sport, boxing. I don't know what to call it.
Maybe.
But,
maybe.
Greg Hardy, former UFC fighter, fought Hasim Rahman Jr. For those of you who don't know, Hasim Rahman Jr. is the son of Hasim Rahman, obviously, who was a former heavyweight champ, excellent boxer, had wars with many of the greats, and his son didn't turn out the way his father did, but he knows how to box. He was supposed to fight Vitor Belfort. That fell through. Surprise, surprise. So he took Greg Hardy on 4 or 5 days' notice. Greg Hardy comes in 320 pounds, 120 pounds heavier than Hasim Rahman. They still do the fight.
Yep.
And I was impressed with Greg Hardy.
Yeah, definitely, because he took some shots in the first round, no doubt about it. But he came on strong in the second, third, and fourth. And most impressive to me was definitely his cardio. He was, after the fight was over, he was dancing around, and it seemed that he could have gone for several more. So yeah, good job, Greg Hardy, for beating up a guy who's 100 pounds less than you. Good job, man.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I didn't dive deep into this. It's not, it's not exactly, Ali Frazier, but whatever commission granted that, yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, good looking out. Yeah. I'd like to see, the takeaway for me though is I'd like to see Greg Hardy fight again in strict boxing, because he seemed to have, his hands were fast and extremely powerful. So I'd like to see him again in a boxing ring against somebody preferably his own size though.
Yeah. Now speaking of circus among circus, MMA's own, the GOAT.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the greatest of all time. I mean, literally, he's a GOAT. Dillon Danis will be fighting KSI, YouTube influencer, on January 14th in London, England. Dillon Danis, who hasn't fought in I don't know how long, is technically still signed to Bellator. who is this guy? Like, no, he's just a bum who just
Mm-hmm.
clout chases on the internet. And
yeah, he's just a guy that says things and gets into scraps with Nate Diaz after big events, and he's just constantly trying to get himself into the media of some sort, trying to get some reputation or some sort of clout. And this is another one of those grabs, I'm certain.
KSI, I'm here to tell you that the MMA community and combat sports at large will be firmly entrenched into your corner.
Who's your
all
money
the way?
On, that more important, because I know for sure you're rooting for KSI, as am I. But who's your money going on in that fight?
I'm gonna go with KSI. I mean, as rudimentary as his striking is, like, I haven't seen anything from Dillon Danis striking wise. He's a great ground guy. If we're talking MMA, KSI gets killed because of the jiu-jitsu, but
grappling match, that's all Dillon Danis for sure.
Yeah, but hands, I've yet to see zero evidence that Dillon Danis can throw hands whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So, and
who has better hands, Dillon? Sorry, go ahead, bud.
I was saying KSI can kind of throw hands, so we'll see.
Yeah, he's actually trained specific boxing. Who throws better strikes, Ben Askren or Dillon Danis? That's the question.
We'll find out. We'll find out. He better throw better than Ben Askren, or he's going to end up like Ben Askren. Face down, cheeks up. Well, man, we did it again, Ho. We did it again.
Did it again. Round two.
Many more to come.
We're going to be back in the studio next week, right?
Oh, man, as long as I can get rid of these cooties, we're good to go.
All right, bro. Wrapping her up here?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We just want to thank everyone for listening and also watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, if you're checking us out on another platform, we're available on many, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. Until next week, this was the Fight Fanatic Podcast.
Out.